Good evening. It's so good to see everybody tonight. We're glad that you came out. I don't know if you got the rain that camp got, but boy, it came down a flood out there, and we needed it. We needed to kind of wash out some of the creek and all the little duckweed there. The fish love the duckweed, but the canoers don't. So, amen, we need to wash that out for a little while and get it on down the creek. Pray if you would for rain. It's pretty dry everywhere, but we need it for bring up the creek at camp for camp time, and so be in prayer for that camp time. But tonight I want to get started in song. We had a good Sunday. Let's have a good Wednesday night and get kicked off right in song. Amen.
Amen. Let's stand together. 551. Start with 551. Since the Savior found me, pardoned all my sin. Amen. I like that word all in there. Amen. On the first verse, sing it out. Since the Savior found me, pardoned all my sin. I have had the joy and the hope within. Gone is all the shame and sorrow of the past. They're underneath the precious blood of Christ at last. Save, save, save. Save, save, saved. I love him more each day. Save, save, save. I know he's mine each hour. He saves and keeps and sanctifies me by his. Amen. That last line's a little tricky on the words there. He saves and keeps and sanctifies. Amen. Spit it out. All right, on the last verse. Here we go. Since the Savior found me, I have perfect rest, living in the realms of happiness, looking on my Savior, looking for that day. Just waiting right away. Sing it. Save, save, save. I'm happy on the way. Save, save, saved. I know. Save, save, saved. I know he's mine each hour. He saves and keeps and sanctifies me by his power. Amen. Over to 212. 212. Since I have been redeemed, I will glory in his name. 212. I have a song I love to sing. On the first verse now. I have a song I love to sing, since I have been redeemed of my Redeemer, Savior, King. Since I have been redeemed, since I have been redeemed, since I have been redeemed, glory in his name. Since I have been redeemed, there's glory in my Savior's name. On the second, I have a Christ that satisfies. To do his will, my highest prize. So I have been redeemed. I have been redeemed. Since I have been redeemed, glory in his name. Since I have been redeemed, I will glory in my Savior's name. On the last verse, I have a for me, since I have been redeemed, where I shall eternally, since I have been redeemed. Since I have been redeemed, since I have been redeemed, glory in his name. I will glory in my Savior's name. Amen. Over to 469 is our chorus we're using this month. Christ for me. Yes, it's Christ for me. 469, we'll sing that in just a moment. Before we do, though, take time and shake hands and greet those around you tonight while the instruments play. 69. Let's sing that chorus together. Got a real high note at the end. Stand up on your tiptoes if you need to. Here we go. Christ for me. Yes, it's Christ for me. He's my Savior, my Lord and King. I'm so happy I shout and sing. Christ for me. Yes, it's Christ for me. Every day as I go my way is Christ for me. Amen. Good job tonight. Good singing for Wednesday night. You may be seated. And it's great to have our teen choir. In the summer, I love to hear them sing. We're glad to have them sing for us now at this time.
Teenagers, what a blessing it is. And I'll just say that, I hope that every one of them and every one of you can say that with all your heart, you know his wounds have paid your ransom, amen, that you know that for sure. It's a sweet song when you know that, amen, and to your heart. Teen Camp is just around the corner next Monday, coming around here Monday, starting June 22nd through Friday to the 26th. We're going to be out at camp each night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, you can come out to camp and be a part of it with us at 7 p.m. We'd love to have you out there. As a parent of a teenager, if you want to be there a little bit early, around that 6:30 mark, a little ahead of that, they have some Bible quiz time and things, and so you're invited for that as well. But We do have a great preacher, somebody that was in our midst for some time. Brother Colin Morton will be preaching for us, and so you want to come out and hear him and be a part of it. And so we want you to come out. We do use this kind of as our summer kind of revival. And so again, if you want to be revived, you got to be there for it. Amen. You got to be present out there. And so if you need to, we're going to be giving a little bit of update and kind of talk about the bus that will be going out each night. This year it's reversed. We're going to be starting taking the bus out for the first camp because it's teen camp, all right? And we won't be doing that necessarily for the second camp unless you so desire. But again, the first one, we're going to be running the bus because this is our teen camp. We also want to let you know that there's going to be a nursery every night, so you can come out, put your kids in the nursery and be a part of that as well. And so we'd also love for you to give. I know we had a good offering given to us on Sunday for camp. They really wanted that to go to some project. If you've been at our camp, you know that we got plenty of things we can work on out there. It's like anything. It's just, you know, that you want to be able to purchase things. And so if there's still, I know that a lot of times, don't let that discourage you. If God spoke to your heart before you heard them give it, do what God asked you to do and give, because we do need to still give scholarships and things. And I'm not trying to beg money out of you. I'm just trying to get you to be obedient to the Lord. If God was pulling on your heart before, don't let that offering stop you. Join in with them, all right? And so folks that don't, you know, I'm hoping to be able to get to meet more of them and be more of a witness to the company that reached out to us and gave that because of what they've given. And so you be in prayer about that as well. But again, camp is just around the corner. Be prepared for it. We'd love for you to come out each night and be a part with us out there. And so it'll be great. The teenagers are going to have a great time. I'm looking forward to the games, but most of all, I'm looking forward to the preaching. Amen. And that'll go on out there. So be in prayer for Brother Colin if you would. Memorial Day service. There's a memorial service this Saturday at June 20th with the visitation at 11. So 11 and 12 is the service time, and that's this Saturday, June 20th, and it's the memorial service for Brother David Akery. I want you to be able to be a part of that. And so we do appreciate you. We've been announcing that, and just want you to come and be a part of it as a church family for Brother David Akery. I can remember him being in the choir, always being in his place back here, about where Brother Joe's at back there in the back. And so do appreciate you coming out as a church and supporting the family and praying for them with the loss of Brother David Akery. Bridal shower, looking forward to that coming up this Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays from now, July 1st in the Village Chapel following the service. That's for Natalie Nags. There's a gift suggestion list on the back table back there for you ladies, things back there for you to be able to get for that bridal shower. I want you to do that. As we turn our attention to the prayer list tonight, want to make sure we take time. Do we have these in the back? I'm assuming this is why this is up here. All right, so want to make sure we get one of these. This is our devotional. It's out there. You can get at them sooner than later, and theme on there for the new college years right on the front. So looking forward to that, being a part of it. Let you go back there and see it for yourself. But the devotion is out. Make sure we make that announcement that you can pick them up as soon as tonight. Prayer request, one of them that was given to me tonight is Brother O.J. Seawright. Let me know his daughter, Julia Bean. His daughter, it was announced Sunday, but again, I want you to continue to pray there. She's in the hospital in Orlando and been kind of going back and forth. Doctor's not giving her a lot of help is what I could hear from him. But again, just kind of an allergic reaction, but they said she's not really allergic to anything. So just pray for wisdom for the doctors to be able to help her. It sounded like her blood pressure went real low at one time, and so she just needs our prayer. So let's be in prayer for Julie Bean. That's his daughter. Continue to pray for Brother Bob Paulin. I got a word today that they have rejected him for the transplant. And so that is not good news. They were, I think, Brother, you told me they were moving him to a room. They were hoping to do that when I got a text earlier, but they did move him to a room, and so they will be able to receive visitors, but she didn't tell me that yet. So let's still just pray until Miss Sue allows us to go up there and force and see them and love on them a little bit. But we really need to come to the place where we pray for the blockage that's blocking the blood flow to the liver. And we just need to ask God to do a liver and make the thing work, all right, because he's not getting a new one at this point. So let's be in prayer for Brother Bob that God would intervene and do a work in his body and heal him. Let's be in prayer for Miss Pat Widener, still in the hospital there with her back, and that piece that broke there and then had to have it fused. So let's continue to pray for her. And it really has some brittle bones there. Miss Vesta Conley has a leg surgery coming up on June 22nd. Miss Amy Hogan has a neck surgery scheduled for July 10th, so let's be in prayer for her as well. And then these on our cancer list: Russ Messersmith, Dorian Ambrose, Rodney and Betty Newsom, Lori Edwards, Irene Lohman, and Wyatt Wooten. Let's stand together. We're going to go to the Lord in prayer. I'm going to ask Brother James Vercellus. Looking forward to him leading camp and all that's going on there. Appreciate him and his service. And so he's going to pray for us, but you remain standing after he prays for the offering.
Let's pray. Oh, most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord God, we love you, Lord God, and we thank you for the night you've given us. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be here, to gather together with family, Father God, and to have a time of worship of you, time of prayer now for the different needs and burdens that we have. So we ask you, please, just simply have your will and your way in all the different names and the needs that have been expressed tonight, Father God. Lord, we particularly uplift you, Brother Paulin. But as we mentioned already, that they may say that his liver's not working right now, but you're a God that can make it work. So we ask that you would please do that you would clear the blockage, you would not have him need of a new liver because you're going to make it new your own way. Lord, I pray that you please just continue to intervene, provide comfort and grace there, particularly to Miss Sue, Father God, and the family. Lord, we do uplift you all the other names on the prayer list, for those on the cancer list, for those that have surgeries to come, for those that are recovering from surgery. Lord, just so many names, just a reminder of our needs, Lord God, and we commit ourselves to you for those. Lord, we particularly pray for camp, Lord. Lord, I ask that you would please even prepare each and every one of our hearts and the hearts of our teenagers, Lord God. Lord, be with Brother Colin even right now. You would give him every single message that you would want for each and every person that will be there. Lord, we always say that we're looking forward to camp to change our hearts and lives. Father God, it's here earlier than usual, Lord, which means that you need us to draw closer to you earlier than usual, Lord. So we ask you would please help us to have our hearts prepared to receive a message. Lord, we do pray for the rain and the weather beforehand, but Lord, I pray that the weather's not that bad during, Lord, that you would please just have your will and your way throughout it all. We'd have a wonderful camp glorifying to you, with not only souls being saved, but decisions made for you for the rest of their life that would affect eternity. Lord, we uplift you now, this offering they may use for your honor and your glory, that, Lord, we would just simply recognize you for who you are, a limitless God. We do ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Remain standing. Take your hymn books. Turn to 119. 119. This is known as the consecration hymn. Take my life and let it be. I hope it's a prayer of yours tonight. Make it a prayer as we sing these verses, that your life is being consecrated to the Lord. On the first verse, take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of thy love, at the impulse of thy. And on the last verse, take my love, my God, I pour at thy feet its treasure store. Take myself and I will be ever only all for thee, ever only all for thee. Amen. Thank you so much. You may be seated. And before our message tonight, Sister Zukowski is going to sing for us.
stars had lost their glimmer, the stripes their majesty. As I thought, what is the matter? It seemed no glory spoke to me. Bring back the cross. By myself I cannot stand. Bring back the cross. We need the help of His strong hand. Can't you hear all glory cry? Can't you feel the grief and pain? America, bring back the cross again. Glory of old glory was a smile from God above. For certain we have had our faults, that's not what I'm speaking of. But the cross and flag together, they sure make quite a pair. Though the cross was invisible, also know that it is there. Know that it is there. Bring back the cross. By myself I cannot stand. Bring back the cross. We need the help of His strong hand. Can't you hear all glory cry? Can't you feel the grief and pain? America, bring back the cross again. America, bring back the cross again.
Thank you, Miss Abby. Take your Bibles, if you would, and go to the book of Hebrews. We'll be in Hebrews chapter number 13 and finish chapter 12, and we'll begin verse number 1 of chapter 13 of the book of Hebrews. I want to encourage you to invite some folks out. Make sure it's Father's Day right around the corner here, right? Sunday, and so we will be kind of having a special day. We're kind of going to do some patriotic things, as we said before, so we're going to be preaching on some of our founding fathers and things this Sunday. But invite your father to come with you. If your dad's not here with you, all right, like I said, you're a dad. Some of you might be a dad, amen, and invite your kids to come with you. Invite somebody to be with you for church on Sunday. If you're a grandparent, like the Weebies became a brand new grandparent again, amen, and congratulations to them, amen. And so you can maybe try to rope and grab them grandkids and bring them in. That's always a special thing as well. And that one might be a little too young right now to do that. But again, for all of us, bring somebody with you on Sunday. It is summertime, and we just need to invite folks to be out with us, especially our family. I'll just, our church family, it's going to speak specifically in the chapter, but sometimes I know that for our own families, we live in a day and age where people are so distant. Not every family's that way, but people are, sometimes it's the entertainment of this world. The magic box of the phone, and it can do two things. It can keep you close from a distance, and it can also just kind of cause distance and kind of fill your time and keep you from them. So let me just encourage you again. I'm not against technology. I'm just against it, just using our time up and just wasting our time away. There's nothing more. The only thing that is of more value than your time is the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ. And so you got to understand it's just one again, costly things, and just make sure that you're looking towards that. Hebrews chapter 13, I hope you found it tonight. And it is Father's Day. I called mine today. My dad's birthday was yesterday. And you say, why didn't you call him yesterday? Because I knew it was his birthday yesterday, but I got busy, and then it was too late to call him late at night. And I called him, and he said, I almost forgot it was my birthday yesterday. And that's because he's in his 70s now, amen. And he's just saying, he said, I'd like to forget some of the birthdays along the way, amen. And, he told me, I asked him if he was 59 or Holden, 69, which one he was going to claim this year. And he said, no. He said, I'd like to tell you I forgot how old I was, but some of them birthdays don't go away. You keep remembering those things and stacking them up. And like me, I'll just say for all of us that have hair that's turning gray or turning loose, it's hard for us to mark. We realize our age when we see our children age as they become adults and they have children. And so Again, the part of the church house here, Hebrews 13, verse number 1, the Bible is going to tell us, it's been so long, he's been teaching about how Jesus is better than everything. And Hebrews chapter 12 is this culmination of all those things. And all that we've said about the two covenants in the last chapter bring us to the place where, again, reminds me that this, I believe, again, that there's no penman, if you want to put it that way. The author is God of the book of Hebrews, but I believe the earthly penman was Paul. And in Pauline fashion, the book comes to a close in chapter 13. Remember, the Bible wasn't written with chapter and verses. It's a letter. And so as he begins to close the letter, he begins to continue to give instruction. But rather than take so much time developing his thoughts, he starts to rapid fire things that they should already know or have been taught. He says in verse number 1, let brotherly love continue. It's something that shouldn't take a whole lot of time for the early church and believers to understand, because they've been taught by Jesus and by the apostles that this is how all men will know them, that they are the called out assembly of the Lord Jesus Christ, that they will love the brethren. Oftentimes, we skip this instruction and spend all our time on the second thing he instructs us to do. But he's speaking to the body of Christ, and we should love the brethren, those that are saved, but especially the ones that we fellowship with. Sometimes it's harder because we know them better. Sometimes we work with them and we rub shoulders, and sometimes they rub us the wrong way. But again, you don't give up on your family. You still love them because they're blood. Listen, folks, the tie that all of us have as a body of believers, we're born again by the blood of Jesus Christ, born again into the family of God. And we need to love the brethren. We need to crave the fellowship of the brethren. Now you say, I don't crave the fellowship of some brethren as much as other brethren. That's just going to be natural. All right, that's a natural thing, you know. But again, for all of us, we ought to be able to come together and let brotherly love continue. He doesn't take a lot of time spending all this time there because he gives it as a self-evident thing that they should be doing. But I do believe oftentimes we do the second thing he teaches us to do, that we should be doing the first and try to have to remember to do the second. The first gives a connotation, and for true love, that means we're being hospitable. We're caring for each other. When we have needs or problems, that we step in and we bear one another's burdens. None of that is in verse 1, but it is going to come up in verse 2 and 3 for other people who are not the brethren. So everything in love means that we're caring. We're putting their needs above our own. Again, love is something, love is not selfish. By the way, love is not blind. We ought to come to the place where we realize those things and come to the place where we see that we ought to love the brethren. It is the outward sign of who is within us. And that is the Spirit of God in Jesus Christ. So the outward sign that the world should clearly see from every Christian to say, what was the sign that people, we often talk about it, that Antioch was the church that was called Christian first. It was their love one for another. It is the identifying mark that Jesus Christ said that all men shall know you because you love each other. Now, for all of us, we often skip past it. He says in verse 2, be not forgetful to entertain strangers. So he says, be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. So he takes a moment just to let us know that the word there, entertaining strangers, is giving us that hospitality. People that drop in on you. All right? Now, how about you say, well, we don't know. When people walk in the back door on a Sunday morning, we have no idea whether they're a believer or a brethren or not. All right? So we've got to have hospitable, we want to not just hound them to tell them about Jesus. We want to kind of find out who they are and entertain them and be hospitable to them. But not just in those areas as well. The connotation or the mindset of the Scripture here is focused on hospitality, but again, It's more about folks we don't have a personal relationship with. Strangers, people who, passers-by. The Good Samaritan had no idea who the man in the ditch was, but he stopped and got him out of the ditch. And for all of us, we have no idea often in our lives. Listen, if the Bible tells us to not forget to entertain strangers, how should we treat one another? Those that the Scripture, listen, because we don't be forgetful to entertain strangers, because those people, because sometimes you're entertaining angels. And, I've heard that preached as much, if not more, and copied by what we would call a Southern, quoting. Don't forget to take care of people, because you don't ever know when there could be an angel dropping in on you. Folks, Jesus didn't die for the fallen angels. He died for the brethren, the one he gave his life for. And the thing he loves is the local New Testament church. And if we're going to be hospitable, we ought to always love the brethren. And we're told, but also don't forget. You're going to get busy. If you truly love the body of Christ, you're going to be busy taking care of other people's business and bearing other people's burdens. But also don't forget, help a stranger or two along the way as well. That's really what the Bible's saying. And he says it in such a blip. It's something that has been taught. It's something that the first church knew and understood it was something that was expected of them. It's something that they wanted to do. But we've come down for a while, and now we would take step 2 and go after strangers and do more for them and give sometimes more for them than we would somebody that we know. Wouldn't it be a shame that you prayed for somebody around the world more than you did for Brother Bob? Somebody that you never know, you may never know, that could just drop in on you. And for all of us, we've got to come to that place where don't forget this, but again, this other thing is expected of the Christian. He says, don't forget. Then he reminds us, remember, in verse 3, them that are in bonds, as bound with them. Now, he's not talking about, hey, all those folks in jail that did all that wrong? In this century, when this is being written, there's a bunch of people put in jail because Paul knows, and by the way, you reap what you sow. Guess who went to jail too? That don't get preached a whole lot, does it? But you do reap what you sow. You live by the sword and you die by the sword, according to the Scripture. And listen, Paul was somebody who jailed Christians, and guess what happened to him once he got saved and started acting and doing the things that a Christian ought to do? He went to jail too. You can't outrun your past, and if it was true about you and listen, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm just trying to tell you that don't think that salvation is going to change everything. The Bible tells us that we're going to reap what we sow, and the Bible comes true every time. It's always going to ring true. And so the Apostle Paul endured that, but he's saying those people who are in bonds because of the cause of Christ, because of what they hold to, and what they preach, don't forget them. And he said we ought to care for them as if we were the one that was in bonds. Why? Because in this age, they didn't feed them. Somebody had to carry them food. Nobody was worried. If they needed medicine, you had to take it. There wasn't a big, taxation. Well, there was taxation, but it was going to other things. They weren't worried about them guys in prison. They weren't worried about social medicine and making sure they get to the hospital and get better care than you or I get. Some of you, if you got a real problem and you need some health care, just go to jail. Amen. Now, I don't know how you're going to get there. I don't know what law you're going to break. It could be speeding. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But again, I'm just saying, I don't want to go to jail to get health care, bless God. Amen. I'm just saying, but we live in a day and age sometimes where we come to a place where we think about people in bonds that this is just anybody that did anything, but the Scripture's saying, realize that some of the folks that are in jail are there because of the cause of Christ. And I believe that this is the Apostle Paul. And listen, do you think he had a heart for people that were bound? Had he known what it was like to be chained? bound in prison? He had. So he says, care for them or remember them in bonds as bound with them. Care for them, pray for them, just like you were shackled in that place beside them. He goes on and he says, and them which suffer adversity. So again, he takes that being bound in a prison house to those that are bound by adversity. Do you know the word adversity itself in the 1828 dictionary it's a powerful word. It means an event or a series of events that happens to a person. I mean, it's something that comes along and it swallows them up. Something they couldn't plan for. It's not something that they deserve. It's not something that they're reaping what they sowed. It's just adversity. Do you know what that means? It means it's swimming upstream. It means it didn't go the way we had planned. Everything wasn't peaches and creams. All right? It was not successful. It was adversity. It uses this terminology. It says, which oppose success or desire, misfortune, calamity, affliction, distress, a state of unhappiness. He says, so we're supposed to be with those that are in bonds just like we're bound with them. And them which suffer adversity as being yourselves also in the body. The mindset here is not just talking about, so one of them is like, I'm with them in bonds. I'm chained with them, but my brother or sister in Christ, when they're going through adversity, I should care for them like I'm the one in their body going through the adversity. I'm going to try to feel the pain. I'm going to try to empathize with what they're going through. I'm going to put myself in their place. The best I've ever heard a preacher say it was, I'm going to put myself in their shoes. Oftentimes we miss that, but again, oftentimes we think about everything from our position. My wife tells me all the time, I'll say something about this, and she says, they ain't you. I'm thinking about it all wrong. You know, every one of us have a besetting sin. Every one of us are different. Every one of us have different willpower. We have different physical ability. We have different, listen, I'm not trying to be mean tonight, but we have different mental capacity. We could go across the board with the different gifts and opportunities that God has given all of us, but we measure everyone else by what we do. And if they don't do what we do, they ain't good enough. They ain't somebody that God loves. Or I don't love them in brotherly love. When we ought to come to the place where the Bible says when we see somebody going through adversity, that we take off our shoes and put theirs on and try to see it from their perspective. Not from our venue, not from the person that's outside the ditch looking in. I should start getting in the ditch and begin there and feel it out from what they're going through. You say, well, preacher, if they fell in the ditch, listen, we always think that that's a bad thing, but I'm just going to tell you, sometimes when you go to the other side, you know, what we think is a ditch, think about all the crossings that have happened throughout the Bible. You know, most of the time to get from point A to point B, you got to cross a couple ditches, rivers, valleys, mountains, to get anywhere. And guess what often happened in rivers, ditches, all those places? There was adversity. Some of the hardest places, if you've ever watched it on Western, where they came to the water, something that we oftentimes, we talked about praying for it today. The creek is something we love to canoe, but if we had to take a wagon across it, it'd be a challenge. It'd be something we'd have to try to figure out how we were going to do it. And have to make a plan for it. And sometimes the plans don't always go the way we think they ought to. And so folks oftentimes throughout this life who tried to do it exactly how they believe God wanted them to do it, where do they find themselves? In the midst of adversity. And where should we find ourselves? Trying to put on their shoes and to help them, to see it from their angle. How am I ever going to know what they need if I don't ask? If I don't get down there and find out where they're at? Listen, down here, the thing I think we need is a ladder. The thing I think we need is a rope. If I was in that hole, this is what I would need to get out of it. So oftentimes we miss the fact that the Bible teaches us in rapid fire. He doesn't go on a big doctoral thesis on each one of these points. He just says, if they're in bonds, act like you're in bonds with them. If they're in adversity, he says, as being yourselves also in the body, just like you're in that same position too. He goes to verse number 4. And this is one that's not popular, but I love Pastor's story about it when he talked back on the CB. If you haven't heard it, you ought to look that one up. Brother Doug's going to look it up and tell you what tape you can get that on Sunday on the radio tomorrow morning, amen? But again, for all of us, we miss the fact that, it says here, and this is what the world needs. You know what? Why would we preach it to the world until we practice it ourselves as a church? Oftentimes, we like to proclaim it to people who aren't saved and don't have the power to practice it. But Christians ought to understand that marriage is honorable in all. That means there are things that can happen in the bounds of marriage that should not happen outside of its bounds. It goes on and says, it doesn't quit there, it commas and pauses. Marriage is honorable in all. That means everything. Marriage is something that God ordained. It is something that God instituted. To live and to act like you're married outside of the bounds of, and you say, well, preacher, that's a state thing. No, that's a God thing. Long before the states ever showed up, these United States ever showed up. Brother John, oh man, I'll come back to that. I lost his name, but again, he was just talking, and I thought that was profound. And many of you may have heard it before, but he used to teach at the college. It's a shame I lost his last name. Anyway, the brother, he got up and he was talking about USA because it was Flag Day on Sunday night. We were up there with Brother Ken Pledger, and he was preaching. And he got up and he said, folks, you want to know why we're tied and we ought to always stand with Jerusalem? He said, you can get the USA right in the middle of Jerusalem, right there. Right? And I mean, he just laid it out right there in the middle of it. He said, we ought to always stand together because we got to stand with Jerusalem. And he said, see it right there? Look in your Bible, the US of A, right? And I just thought, well, that was good. I thought that was all right. But again, how about in marriage for all of us? We ought to realize that God is in marriage. That it is something that God has ordained from the beginning in creation when he made man and woman and he put them together. It is something that he bound together that was sacred from the beginning of time. And he made them male and female and put them together. And he says marriage is honorable in all. And then he says, and the bed undefiled. So again, he connects the bedroom and what happens in the bedroom. And I'm not going to go far because we got little kids in here tonight, but I'll just say that is connected to marriage. He begins anything that's outside of that ought to happen in that room. He goes and he says, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. So he begins to say one thing is ordained of God. God says it is honorable in all. And here are the dishonorable things that people do. He uses the word whoremonger. I looked that up in the 1828 dictionary. Do you know what it went with? He said, often commonly called whoremasters. Now, you may not use that term, but the Bible doesn't use that term. But again, just understand that it doesn't mean that he said that they believe they're the master of their own destiny. That they can do what they want. It doesn't matter what God says. That's someone who is not bound in marriage, but someone who goes out and does all the things that marriage has to offer before they're married. And then he calls adulterers. This is someone who's going outside of a marriage relationship and doing all the things that should only happen inside the bonds and the bounds of marriage. He says, this is the culmination. He says, but whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge. You say, preacher, why are you taking a minute to talk about that? Listen, I just want you to know how it defines it as whoremongers, whoremasters, lewdness. Lewdness is defined as the unlawful indulgence of lust. So again, you say, oh, well, I'm not that. Okay. This is the definition of lewdness, which is what the word means, is the unlawful. That means unbiblical. It's talking about biblical law, the unlawful indulgence of lust. Again, he goes on and he talks about, pretty much defines adulterers as a man who commits adult acts outside of marriage. Yeah, and you say, preacher, why are you parking there? Well, we ought to teach. We ought to preach these verses. You know, it wasn't all that long ago that people knew what that meant. And when Pastor said, you know, we're talking about probably in the 80s, late 80s, mid 80s, that he squeezed down on the CB and talked with a great big deep voice, all he could muster as he told the story, and spoke. And the trucker said, who was that? Listen, I'm just going to tell you, there used to be people that feared God. And when they realized that they were doing things that were outside of the marriage bounds, that God was going to judge them. You say, well, not me, I'm saved and on my way to heaven. Listen, does it say that you get out of God will judge free card because you're saved? It just kind of stamps right there that you're going to reap what you sow. That God's going to judge. You say, well, God ain't judged me yet. God's a long-suffering God. And he's willing to give you space of time that you will repent and turn from that thing. Most of the time we think of God just as a God of rules. God's a God of love. God loves so much that, again, he loves to the place where he'll long suffer. He'll let you do things that are outside of his law without judgment right away because he waits for you to turn back in. Waiting for you to get it right. Waiting for you to get in under the blood. Waiting for you to come to a place where you'll repent and be restored. God is so good that he loves you. He goes on and he says, now this is, we think those are the people with all the problem, right? No. Well, how about Christians? He says, let your conversation be without covetousness. Now, oftentimes we don't like covetousness, that we would say we're not part of that. But being covetous is the opposite of being content. That's, in the nursery, it's one toy and all the kids going, mine, 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 right? Fighting over it. Everybody wants it. It's not something you got to teach people. From birth, they're little sinners, all right? It only takes a spark and you just fan that little spark and they're good. Okay. Have you ever had kids? All right, because they got your DNA. They're little devils right out the gate. They need Jesus just like you did to change your destination, to change your direction and really your desires, to want the things that God wants for you. And he comes to a place where he says here, let your conversation. Conversation is just simply this. It's a way of life. In the 1828 dictionary, it's defined as general course of manners, behavior, deportment. It even puts this, especially as it is or respects towards your morals. Your conversation is your walk, how you walk through this life, how you talk. It encompasses really your morals, your moral compass of your life. And oftentimes, even as Christians, we miss the fact that we ought to be content. That God wants to give us the desires of our heart, but there is no way in the Christian life to truly be thankful for what God has done for you without being content with what God has done. Doesn't mean that you won't work hard for more. It doesn't mean that you won't work hard. It just means that's not what you're working for. I'm just going to tell you, you want to talk about what Elon Musk, I think he became the first trillionaire as they split his stock and it separated. Do you think that made him happy? He probably thought when this thing splits, that's when it's going to be enough. Did you watch what he said? Didn't sound like it was enough to me. He wants it to split again. Hey, can I just tell you, you could have trillions in the bank. it ain't never going to be enough. It's never going to satisfy your soul. It isn't ever going to bring contentment. Now, you say, I would sure like to have 2 nickels rubbed together. That's most of us, amen? There's a difference between coming to the place where you want your needs met, praying for, give us this day our daily bread, and watching God take care of you. And it's a whole nother thing and saying, God, give me a Ferrari. God, give me this. God, give me that. When most of us don't even take time to stop and say, God, thank you for what all of you've already done. I want you to see what the scripture says. It says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. The greatest promise that you've ever had in your life that ought to bring contentment to your life is that you have salvation in Jesus Christ and a home in heaven. Nobody is homeless if they're saved. You're a pilgrim passing through, and your home awaits on the other side, and it ain't a shack. The Bible calls it a mansion. It's something God built for you and has prepared. And for all of us, the American dream is the home. And I'll be honest with you. We live in a day and age where that goal and that dream is getting farther and farther away from young people than it's ever been before. It's harder and harder to buy a house. Here in Central Florida, it's harder and harder to make listen, I understand all of the woes and what we've already dealt with of adversity, of the battle of it. You say, preacher, why did you say that? I'm saying that because what we ought to focus on is trust in the Lord. He knows what needs you have. He knows where you are. He knows how he can best take care of you. And he says, listen, what you can count on, what you can take to the bank is I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. For oftentimes, we're always looking for something else to take to the bank. And the greatest thing that you could put in your heart and turn the key and lock it is that I got a promise from God that he'll never leave me nor forsake me. Listen, everybody that believes you can lose your salvation, put that one in your pipe and smoke it. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. How are you ever going to believe you could lose your salvation and you got that verse in the Bible? Amen. Hey, I just want you to come to the place, he says here, contentment. I want to take a moment and go backwards, if you would. Let's go back to Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter number 6, and I want to show you what the Bible says on contentment. He said, well, the Bible's not current with my age. Okay, if it knew what kind of economy I was in, it wouldn't tell me to be content. The Bible's always current. The Bible's alive, folks. 1 Timothy chapter number 6, and we'll try to close it up tonight with this, but I want you to see some things the Bible says, and we got to be careful if we're not content because we'll get covetous, and again, loving the wrong thing will cause you some problems. He begins the chapter in verse number 1 in context of being a servant. And it ain't just serving someone else. It's being someone who is bound to someone else. You are a servant. All right? I mean, you could use the term slave. All right? In the scripture here. He says, let as many servants. He's been through talking about all the different body of Christ. Elders. All right? The elder women. The elder men. He's gone through all the different parts of the body of Christ. And now he's come to, and by the way, some of you are believers attending the church, and you're servants to someone else. Someone else is making most of the decisions in your life, where you're going to be and what you're going to do on a daily basis. And he addresses how they should live in the scripture. He says, let as many servants as are under the yoke count their own masters worthy of all honor. A slave master ought to be worthy of all honor. It's what scripture says. That the name of God and his doctrine be not blasphemed. Now, listen, you can't count. Listen, if that wasn't in the book, you couldn't say, whatsoever your hand findeth to do it with all your might. You say, well, why has that got to be in there? Because listen, most people that were servants weren't born slaves. They got themselves in debt, and they were indentured servants. Or their daddy got in debt and gave their son to pay off the debt for 7 years. Now, God also had boundaries for them to get out of that servitude. By the way, the Scripture also gives boundaries for them to enter back into it and stay a servant to someone else for their entire life, because it was good service. Because they loved their master and wanted to serve him. The Scripture goes on and tells us in verse number 2, and they that have, look at this, he goes, so God, why are we going to be worthy of all honor? So that the name of God and his doctrine be not blasphemed. And they that have believing masters, let them not despise them, because they are brethren, but rather do them service, because they are faithful and beloved, partakers of the benefits. These things teach and exhort. He even says here, in the connotation, you say, well, what if they're believers? Shouldn't they turn these people loose? There seems like a little bit of mindset that if they were true believers, they ought to turn people loose. Now, how many of you, listen, if you got saved overnight, do you think everybody knows everything you know? What about a servant in the house that's a witness to his master, and as soon as he gets saved, he's not turning everybody loose as soon as he gets saved. He's going to have to grow in his salvation before he's able. And what's going to help him grow in salvation? The same thing that helped you be a witness to him when you were in his house, serving, doing right, loving the Lord. That's what the Scripture lays it out for. And then he gets to the place here, he says, and if any man teach otherwise, and consent not to the wholesome words, even the words of our Lord Jesus Christ, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doing about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmising, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself. He begins to talk about this contentment, beginning with the idea of teachers of the Bible. And he says that the first way a person is going to get off and teach the wrong doctrine and teach things is they think gain is godliness. Do you know, oftentimes the way we measure whether the church is being blessed or not is how much is in the offering plate, or how many we had on the buses, or how many we had in church. And that those things are measurable things on whether someone is faithful, true, and being blessed of God. And by the way, I'll just tell you, those things come in and out like the tide. Those things are not constant. The thing that is constant is that he will never leave us nor forsake us. Whether we have 700 or whether we have 200. Whether we have 2. How about that? All right, where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name. Hey, can I just tell you, we got to come to the place where we realize that gain is not godliness. Just because everything looks good and the offerings look great, everything must be going. Everything must be godly. No, that's not always. Everything that swells up isn't always alive and well. I've seen a mess of deer on the side of the road that have been hit by a car, and they're swelling up and getting bigger every day, but they've been dead for days. And we've got to come to the place where we understand that, and we take what the Scripture says and we make it true in our own lives and say the Bible's true and every man's a liar. Verse 6, he says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. He contrasts this idea that gain is godliness with the opposite of being content. He clearly says, all right, in the Scripture, but godliness, that means living for God, doing what the Scripture says, being obedient to the commands of the Scripture with contentment. He couples two things together. Not living, listen, it's hard to be godly and be covetous. It's hard to live a life that's for God and He's first, when my job and my money come first and God comes second to it. Christian life is always going to be lined up with godliness and contentment. There are so many people who have gotten out of church, away from God, because their number one goal was to make money, to stretch themselves. And they got a great work ethic. And nothing to sneer at. But what caught them is what's in this passage. I want you to see from verse 7 to verse 10, it's passages we've heard, but we don't often preach on. What's he say? He says in verse 7, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can take nothing out. He reminds us again that godliness with contentment, because the only place you can lay things in store is putting them in heaven. That mission goal, putting your time in down here, having the right motives and living for God and gaining rewards in heaven. You can build your bank account. Guess what? Every one of them $1 trillion that Elon Musk has, he will not take it to hell with him. He won't take it to heaven with him either. It's only what's done here for the cause of Christ that will last into eternity. We've got to come to the place where we measure things the way God measures them. And he goes on, he says, and having food and raiment, let us therewith to be content. But that they which will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. The crowd that is seeking after riches are people who will drag you into some of the worst lust on planet Earth. It is how they mask their hurts. It's how they mask their disappointment with when they heap up riches and it doesn't taste what they thought it was going to taste like. It wasn't going to supply. They usually thrust themselves into lustly pleasures of this life. And listen, they will drag a bunch of people down with them if we allow ourselves to fall into that temptation. The Bible says in verse 10, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith. Do you see what that means? That means pursuing or loving money, all right, is the opposite. It says, which while some coveted after. Covetousness versus contentment. And it lays out, it says, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Listen, the scripture, we know that the love of money is the root of all evil. But we don't often teach or preach to, again, and many people don't want to sit around and listen, that people that pursue or love money have erred from the faith. That they're covetous. That seems like it should be a given, but we don't often tie it together. The scripture's going to come back and you say, preacher, what do you want us to take home from it tonight? Listen, marriage is honorable and all. You ought to be bound in the thing that God wants us to do. The greatest riches any person ever had is the promise from God that he will never leave us nor forsake us. And with that, we ought to know that, listen, he cares for us. If he can take care of the sparrow, the scripture says, all right? If he cares about the little birds, if he takes the flowers and he dresses them better than he did Solomon, then how does he care for you, who he shed his blood and died for? And that same God says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. Oftentimes we pursue financial gain. And listen, I'm not against people having money. God is a good God, and he gives some people that, and they give it. We have had some wonderful blessings, and again, I'm not against it. You know, like, oh, no, we hate money here. Take it back, right? We didn't say that Sunday morning, did we? You don't see the offer, the offering plates are passed, and we take the money and throw it back at people. No, that's not what we're saying. Money is something that comes and goes, and every one of you need it when you go to the grocery store. You need it to pay payments on your cars and everything else. But the pursuit of it is what people fall into, this great temptation. I'm going to spend my life chasing the almighty dollar. Because that's what's going to make me happy. Or according to the scripture, he says, but they that will be rich. When I was a young man, I had a cousin. Both of us surrendered to preach. Both of us loved the Lord. We were both in the same youth group. We were both raised in the same family, very close to each other. Both of us had almost all the same opportunities to serve God and to love him. And when we got to be about 18, I remember him saying to me, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be a millionaire in 5 years. He was bankrupt in that 5 years. You say, preacher, listen, I could as much tell you that he was a millionaire and he was just miserable. Can I just tell you that when we set out to be, I'm going to be a trillionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a billionaire. The Bible just tells us that that's covetous. That's a covetous mindset. Now, if you say, God wants me to work in this, and you have a successful business, and that's what God led you to do, praise God. If God is funneling money through what you're doing and allowing you to give it back to the cause of Christ, take care of your family and lay something up for future generations. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the love of money is the root of all evil. If every day, instead of doing the job right and honoring God with your hands and with your time, if all you can ever do is count all the hours and all the dollar bills of every moment of your life, that's covetous. It's all you can see. It's what you're living for. You know, oftentimes what you think about every moment of the day is often what you're living for. Let me just ask you, church, again, all these things, do you think about during the day? Boy, I love that person. I ought to do something good for one of my church members, one of the brothers and sisters in my church. I want to be good to them because I love the family of God. I can't wait to make, brownies and bring them into my Sunday school class. Think about cookies and just being good to the little brethren. Hey, or how about this? Go on the opposite side of it, And in marriage, is your thoughts all the time about going outside your marriage? I mean, just think about your thought life and what we're thinking about. Every day of our life, all I can think about, I'm thinking about money. And how it changes. Listen, I drove by I remember my father-in-law saying this a long time ago. I don't know how many of you played the lottery. Please don't raise your hand. But my father-in-law, I grew up in an independent Baptist church, and again, do you know how many thoughts have been wasted? How many minutes of every day that could be thankful to the Lord, and people, they see that, I don't know, I was riding the other day, I think one of the billboards said something about 400 and some, $1 million. You know what my mind goes to first? I'm an American. I go to taxes. Okay? If you did win that, you ain't barely going to clear but 200 million of it. Now that would be enough for me to live off of. And it'd be a good offering for the church. But I still didn't go buy me a ticket. You say, well, preacher, what is that? Because again, I thought to myself, people get consumed with that, but how about instead seeing that and going, how much more money God has than that? And if he really wanted to give it to me, it wouldn't really be a problem for him. If he wanted to give it to me, and by the way, I'd encourage you, if you are